Welcome back. Last week, Johan and I spent the last few days with my family, cruising in Desolation Sound in British Columbia. After dropping them off, we left the remote nature and headed south to the big city of Vancouver. It's late September, and it's getting colder up here in Canada. But when the sun is shining, it still gets pretty warm.
We're anchored in Falls Creek, right in downtown Vancouver. Along the creek there are several docks where you can tie up your dinghy to go ashore. Vancouver has great bike lanes, so what better way to explore than by bike?
We took the bikes north to Gastown. Back in the late 1800s, the neighborhood was a rough melting pot of loggers, fishermen, and sailors from the many ships that were docked in the area. The steam clock fits well in with the neighborhood's historical vibe. It was, however, constructed quite recently, in 1977. Originally, the clock was driven by a steam engine, but since 1986, it's been run on the more reliable electrical backup system. It is, however, still a very popular tourist attraction in Vancouver.
The metropolitan area of Vancouver has a population of around 2.5 million. And has the highest population density in Canada. The city ranks high year after year in quality of living, and we can really understand why. Vancouver has a great mix of everything: city life, parks, and nature close by. They say that Vancouver is the city where you can go ski in the morning and take your boat out sailing the same afternoon.
Happy to go biking. I love biking, and I really miss that because we don't have any bikes on board. So I'm really happy today, and the weather is great. And now we're standing just next to the seaplane floats, like their seaplane little harbor where they land and take off. And there are quite many. There's one taking off now. Look at that.
Now we're heading to Stanley Park over there, and it's supposed to be a really big park here in Vancouver. It's a really nice biking city.
Stanley Park sits like an oasis right next by the impressive skyline of Vancouver's high-rise city center. The park functions as an important nature breathing hole for Vancouver's busy population.
There's a lot of current here. I read that the current can run to up to 6.5 knots through here. And the ocean is in that direction to the west. And this is Stanley Park, and it sits on a peninsula. And on the northern side of that peninsula we have the Vancouver harbor, and there is also a lot of marinas and yacht clubs. Ron is anchored on the other side of this peninsula in Falls Creek, which is good for us because we can anchor for free there for I think it's up to 2 weeks.
Even if the park is more or less surrounded by the city, it's still big enough to have a diverse wildlife. Beavers, squirrels, raccoons, and even a family of coyotes live here among many other animals. Yeah, you can really tell that fall is coming now, and you see all the leaves are changing colors. It's really beautiful to see the seasonal changes. Biking along Falls Creek, we watch the cool floating houses and also pass by Ron sitting at anchor. Wow, that was quite the awakening this morning. We woke up that we heard a crash, bang, boom. Someone hitting us with their boat. Wow, it took me a couple of seconds before I could just figure out where are we, what's happening. Sounded like someone was pulling our anchor. And like chain and everything, this scraping sound, and jumped outside and find a boat that is just stuck on our stern. That's the bowsprit that was rammed into our cockpit, almost taking out one of our solar panels and the backstay. Johan pushed the boats away from Ron and then helped the lady to weigh anchor. He pushed the boats out in the channel, but then the boat steered right towards another boat at anchor. Finally, the boat steered the right way and away in the channel.
And what a morning, waking up with a big crash.
Luckily, the bowsprit missed the backstay with a few centimeters and only made a few scratches on the push pit.
Var är vi, Malin?
Ikea. We're on Ikea. We just had to when we saw that there are actually 2 Ikeas here in Vancouver. We just had to visit.
Again, which is a red Lexus. When you return to your car, you've left your lights on. Again,
Swedish meat.
På svenska.
Svenska köttbullar med brunsås och potatismos.
Och lingonsylt.
Lingonsylt.
This has become a tradition now. This is the 3rd time we visited an IKEA since we left Sweden. But I'm not sure if the one in Las Palmas had a restaurant, and I don't remember. But if they have a restaurant, you have to eat the meatballs. If you've ever been to an IKEA, you know that there is a store after the registers with Swedish goodies. This is delicious. With Swedish cheese, of course. I used to work at this factory. Those goodies. This is another very Swedish thing.
Granville Island used to be a major industrial area, but it's nowadays a bustling marketplace with hundreds of vendors and small businesses. It was such a luxury, being able to take the dinghy right up to the market, to get our fresh produce and freshly baked bread. There aren't many cities where we're able to anchor with such great access to the city as in Vancouver. It was a real treat for us after many months in more remote places.
Where are you guys from?
We are from Slovakia.
Oh, nice.
Folk dance, Vinica.
Vinica. From Košice.
Looking very nice. We're waiting for Josh, who works at Mustang Survival. He's gonna take us to their factory today, which is just outside of Vancouver. And Mustang Survival, they make like PFDs and foul weather gear for sailing and other activities. So it's gonna be really fun.
Here, so just grab a seat and then off. Front door. These 60s. Yeah, 67, I think.
They look good, I like it.
Yeah.
Very retro.
So it was like the coats that float. It was a guy who was actually selling like fashion coats.
Yeah.
And then he was looking for a way to stay warm, like insulation. And so when this guy was selling him like foam to keep him warm, and the salesman for the foam was like, hey, you know this stuff floats. And then it was just like ding, like bulb. And so he started making these floater coats, and it turned into PFDs and then all of the government work, and they've worked with like NASA, we've done stuff. We've made like fighter pilot G suits for fighter pilots.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, so all of the survival suit stuff. And like just some of the designs. It's like this
Wow,
was
what's
one.
that?
It was called the beaver tail. So it had a tail, and then you clipped it here. So when you sat, it would keep your bum warm and stuff. So you didn't get
great.
cold. It was super cool.
Yeah.
And then even just like rescue suits for like ice rescue and government agencies, and then all the way to kind of today. This is the future of what inflatables could be, PFDs. So we're working on really, really thin materials and lightweight
and that
materials.
this.
Becomes that.
Yeah.
So this is like the prototype area. So basically anything we build for sale, we can build one of them here first. So we've got Julie's our prototyper, and then all of the designers and engineers can come here and collaborate and build designs and test designs. And then they take it downstairs to the factory, and they can say, hey, can we make this in a factory setting? So we can always make one thing, try to make it in the factory, take it to the river, jump in the water, come back. So it's super cool.
It was interesting to get an insight on the processes and what goes into the making of PFDs and foul weather gear.
And there's still a lot of hand cutting, like with a metal saw and chain, but having one of these has made things just go faster. Yeah, here we take our dry suits and we blow them up with air, and then we run water. So we'll fill them up with air, lay them out here in the shape like this, and then we'll spray water on it, soapy water, and we look for bubbles, which means that the air is leaking out, which means the dry suit has a leak. And so every single dry suit that we make gets tested like this before it leaves the door.
So this is, I just looked at the website, so this is for the ice rescue?
Ice rescue guys. Like a lot of like offshore commercial fishing, guys will wear something like this because it's approved and it keeps them warm when they're outside. So here we can test whatever, clothing, PFDs, whatever we want. So we can build it in the prototype shop and then just take it right to the pool and jump in and see, does it float, does it keep me dry, all that stuff. And then this is for like a helicopter simulation. So you'll strap you in, and then we'll flip it upside down. And then there's like plastic here, so then you have to get out, kind of swim through the window, and then pull your PFD. And it's training for helicopter pilots and making sure that what we're building works with a helicopter system. And then this is like a fighter pilot seat. So same thing if they're flying over water. Like, does it work with an ejection seat and keep you float?
How does it feel?
Cool. So that's then your wrists, and then your neck, you just kind of like...
This cord right here.
Is that better? I
You want it to feel a bit tight on it, because
Yeah.
that's where your seal is.
Yeah. Do you have it?
Good?
Whoa!
Nice. Sweet.
Nice and warm in here.
And you float?
What?
Yeah, because
You're
it
floating
traps all
now,
the
yeah.
air.
It feels wet, but
You feel wet because you're kind of cold.
yeah.
So that's like, when you don't have any weather, wear that, and you'll be totally dry.
Yeah.
And then when you need to clean the boat,
So you're all dry.
Yeah. Feels like it. So yeah, I guess. Cool.
We got to see and try a few items of their marine and outdoor line, and even got to take some foul weather gear home with us.
Thank you for watching. If you liked the episode, please give it a like and make sure to subscribe. Next week we get to see Vancouver from above.